Hey MennoNerds, let me tell you a story. I was listening to what Deborah had to say about preaching. Loved it. Appreciate your summary. I saw Paul's awesome vlog about what makes a good sermon from a pastor's perspective. Pretty solid. Was pretty excited. Loved the creativity in that. And I love the voiceless video blog. That's awesome. And Ebony talking about the voice of the oppressed. I learned to read the scripture after experiencing what a marginalized Muslim person feels in the southern Philippines. Their narrative as an oppressed people is what opened my eyes to what Jesus was talking about and Jesus' political scenario in the Gospels. One of the very specific examples I have had to do with a fact-finding mission. I went on with some other Mennonite Church Canada missionaries and my father-in-law when we were searching for answers to human rights violations that both sides of an armed conflict were aggressing against each other and breaking human rights code. So what had happened was we went to these military leaders that you can see on the screen and we talked to them. We had this great dialogue. There were pastors and human rights advocates and peace builders all represented, and we sat down with this military leader. And we sat and we talked and we listened to his story about why they were doing what they're doing and what their vision of hope was for the future. Well, one of the instigations of this was, if you look on that screen, you can see a big patch of dirt. This picture is up close to that patch of dirt. The military had shot a howitzer over 6 kilometers, and they'd blown it up in the middle of this field. Well, the field, now this picture is standing where the howitzer hit, looking back, and you can see there's a school right there. This is like 50 meters from a school. Can you imagine 50 meters from a school and you're having a howitzer blow up there? Then we talked to this community and they described how for the last 40 years of history they've felt the systematic violence. They've felt oppressed and they have not had a voice. They've been marginalized. And so this is a farmer coming in from his field. When the farmers come in from their field, they feel like they got to be armed and they got to protect themselves against the systematic violence that is in the culture in the southern Philippines. I think you can't actually understand the power and the liberation and the freedom and the reconciliation in our relationship with God, our relationship with others, and our relationship with the whole earth and the whole universe. I don't think you can actually understand that unless you're learning to see the Bible through the eyes of the oppressed instead of through the eyes of privilege and power and wealth. I learned that, like I said, by hanging out with people in the southern Philippines who were oppressed people, who were marginalized, who did have their land taken away from them. It's very important that we give that we give minorities and oppressed people a voice in this world, in our churches, so that we can learn more about the kingdom, because they have a perspective on the kingdom that someone like me, a white person who's part of has a very specific worldview, I can't tell you, and I can't read scripture with the same wisdom and experience as someone who's been oppressed. And I need to hear from them to understand Jesus' message better.